Alright ladies and gentlemen, for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing and unboxing the Gulikit KK3 Pro Controller, which is the third generation of Gulikit's King Kong Pro Controller, and by the looks of it, each generation seems to get better and better. Plus, this controller can be used on multiple platforms, such as the Nintendo Switch OLED, Steam Deck, Android, iOS, Windows, and Mac. This controller does come in two different styles. It comes in the Game Boy Retro, which is the one you're seeing on screen. And honestly, Gulikit did an excellent job at matching the original Game Boy's colorway. But if this is not your style, no worries. They have a simple black style that is very similar to a standard Xbox One controller. Now, before I start unboxing this controller, I do want to say massive shout out to Gulikit for sending me out this controller to review. Even though this was sent out to me, my opinions on this controller will be unbiased, as I hate promoting terrible products. However, just based on the looks and key features of this controller, I have a feeling that the KK3 Pro Controller can possibly be one of the best multi-platform controllers on the market. So let's begin. For the packaging, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's very simplistic. It has all the key features listed on the back and the product specifications listed on the left-hand side, and I will be going over each key feature throughout the video. And yes, the corners are a little beat up, but that's very common for me when it comes to receiving packages in my area, so I'm not going to blame the company for that. And as you can see, the package is sealed by these two pieces of protective tape. If you want to remove the tape, this is all you have to do. You don't need to cut it. They actually give you pull tabs, which is very convenient. Now, what's inside the box? We got a cable. Ooh, it looks like the controller does come with a protective case. I like that a lot. And we have the instruction manual, a firmware / gamepad tester and debugger. I'm gonna assume you probably do have to update the controller. What else we have here? Ooh, we got a sticker. I'm gonna add that to my collection. And what is this? Oh, it's just all their products. That's cool. I'm honestly shocked that this controller came in a protective case. You don't really get a case very often when it comes to controllers. You usually have to buy that separately. And it also could be a great dust protector when you're not using the controller. You see, I live in the desert and basically all my controllers get dust on them. So this is a huge plus. But here is the controller. Honestly, reminds me a lot of the Xbox One controller. We do have the HyperLink plugin and our two back paddles. Their paddle design is very interesting, and I'm hoping they go in very easily. There are 4 slots on the back, but since this is the Pro controller, they only provide us with 2 paddles. If you want all 4 paddles, you do have to buy the KK3 accessory kit, which has a price tag of $14.99 USD, and you get another set of buttons, and there are 2 styles to choose from, the Game Boy Retro or Black. You also get 4 paddles that look very similar to the Xbox Elite controller's back paddles, 2 more of the unique paddles, and a keycap tweezer, as you can remove these buttons if you wanted to. Now, let's see if these go in very easily. I'm going to assume it just plug and play, like you just slide in, or, well, let me try another one. Being a little difficult to put those paddles in. I thought it'd be a simple plug and play. All right, when it comes to the instruction manual, it's a decent sized one. English is just on the front. Sadly, there's no instructions on how to put in the paddle, but there is a lot of key features. Okay, I figured it out. You just really got to push it in there. All you got to do is push it in, put a little bit of pressure. Don't be afraid. Then there we go. This should be a simple removal. You just got to pull on it. Yeah. You just got to pull back on it. I will admit these back paddles can be a little tricky installing, but once you get the groove of it, you'll be good to go. You got to put them in at an angle and take them out at an angle. And they do require a bit of force. And make sure not to tilt it too much, as you will put a little dent in it. That's my fault. I just wish these back paddles would go in a little bit more easier. There we go. And future bullish here, the way I just inserted those back paddles was completely wrong. It will feel awkward on your fingertips, so please make sure you are making a V shape with these back paddles, so the pads of your fingertips can easily press down on them. Plus, I have to admit, after using this controller for a few days, I love how comfortable these back paddles are. Now, I did talk with Gulikit about the issue with the back paddle installation and removal process. They intended for the paddles to have a snug fit, which I can appreciate, but I still wish they were easier to install and remove. However, at least you don't have to worry about the back paddles falling out during a gaming session. Now for the feel of the controller, the thumbsticks feel good. They have some grip. The D-pad, it's a very standard D-pad. And the A, B, X, Y buttons are membrane buttons, which is not necessarily a deal breaker for me, but I know there are some consumers who prefer mechanical buttons. However, these feel quite nice. Besides that, it does have a pretty standard switch layout on the front. You have your plus button, your minus button, your screenshot button, your home button. Then you have your settings button, which I have a big feeling is going to be used a lot when it comes to programming this controller to your liking. And this button is for autopilot gaming, which I honestly cannot wait to get into. And by the way, these are also membrane buttons. The front of the controller is smooth, but for the handles, they have a textured grip to it, which I personally do like. It's not a rubber grip, it's just textured plastic, but still, it gives you good grip of the controller. But overall, all the buttons feel responsive. I'm not feeling any jamming, and everything seems to be working just fine. Also, the bumpers feel nice, and the triggers feel smooth. We also have a player LED indicator located on the left-hand side of the USB Type-C charging port, and a platform LED indicator on the right-hand side. And then for the cable that they provided, it's a very standard USB-A to USB Type-C, and it is a flat cable. Sadly, it's not braided, but hey, at least you have a charging cable. Plus, you can use this cable to turn this wireless controller to a wired one, and the cable provided is over 5 feet long. And for this video, I'm going to be pairing this controller to my Nintendo Switch OLED, my iPhone 13, and my Windows PC, which I cannot really show off because that's what I'm using to record this video. Now, when it comes to pairing this controller to compatible devices, it's pretty simple. If you are pairing this controller to an iOS or Android device, you need to turn on the controller first, and to do that, you can either press this button, the home button, or any of the A, B, X, Y buttons. As you can see here, I just tapped it, and now it's turning on. Then from there, you just need to double click this button, which is the mode button, until you have the LED light indicator in this position. Then from there, just go into the Bluetooth settings in your iOS or Android device and make sure it's turned on. Then from there, you're just going to hold down this button right here for a couple seconds until you have the LED lights doing this. Then from there, just look for the Xbox wireless controller. And as you can see, the lights are no longer scrolling and it's solid. And overall, it just connects very quickly. Now, if you're just curious, in order to turn off this controller, just hold down the mode button until the controller turns off. But this controller will turn off automatically after 10 minutes of inactivity unless you have, spoiler alert, turbo mode or autopilot gaming enabled. Now, I have to admit, I love this controller for Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. It defaults into the Xbox layout when it is connected, which I find so convenient. But you can also change the button layout manually. And just to showcase this, as you can see, my controller is connected and it is in the Xbox layout because when I press B, it's actually A, and when I press A, it's B. Now to swap the input values, just press down on the settings button, then tap the plus button. You'll feel one vibration and the logo LED light will turn blue. When the logo is blue, there is a special setting enabled. When the logo is white, it just means the controller is in a default state. When the logo is flashing, it means the controller has a low battery. Plus, you won't feel any vibration if you do try to use it. And when you plug in the charger, the logo will turn orange, and when the logo turns green, it means the controller is fully charged. And since we are on the topic of this controller's battery, the battery life can last between 15 to 28 hours, depending on what special settings that are on or off, which is honestly very impressive, and it can take up to 2.5 hours to fully charge this controller. But back on topic, you can swap the A, B, X, Y button layout quite easily. And like I was saying, I love using this controller with Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. It's just a smooth gaming experience. I don't even really notice a delay. And if you have a trigger finger, you are going to love these triggers, as they are Hall effect, just like the joysticks. So this controller should never develop stick drift or have the triggers randomly go out, as the joysticks and triggers utilize magnets and sensors, so none of the internal parts are physically making contact. But overall, this controller is perfect for mobile gaming. Now, in order to pair this controller to a Windows PC, you have three options. You can connect the controller through Bluetooth, use the cable provided and turn the controller into a wired one, or use the HyperLink adapter. For the first two options, you need to double click the mode button until the LED light is in this position. Then from here, just go into your Windows PC Bluetooth settings and make sure it's on. Then click on Add Device, then click on Bluetooth. Then from here, make sure your controller is on for this process. Then hold down the sync button until the LED light is scrolling. And once Gulikit controller XW appears, click on it. And just like that, we are paired. Then for the wired connection, just use the cable that was provided, then plug in the USB Type-C into the controller's charging port, like so. Then plug in the USB Type-A into an open USB slot on your Windows PC. And it is recommended to plug this into a USB slot on the back of the PC for the best connection. And when you do that, the logo will change to this pinkish purple color. However, if the logo is orange, it's just in a charging state. So all you have to do is turn on the controller. And just like that, we are connected. Then for the third option, you need to double click the mode button until the LED light is in this position. Then just plug in the HyperLink adapter into an open USB slot on your Windows PC. Then from here, make sure the controller is on. Then hold down the sync button until the LED light is scrolling. Then you're gonna press the pairing button on the HyperLink adapter. And just like that, we are connected. And I just wanna show you that the pairing button on the HyperLink adapter is very hard to miss, and it's the only button on the adapter. Now, in terms of which connection is the best, if you are a competitive gamer, then I recommend either using the wired connection or the HyperLink connection, as you will have a 1000 hertz polling rate, which just means a faster response time. However, the Bluetooth connection is perfectly fine in my eyes, even though it does have a 125 hertz polling rate, so the response time will not be as fast as the other two connections. But overall, I had a blast using this controller in all three connections while playing Combat Master on my PC, so I do personally believe that this controller is a great option for PC gamers. And by the way, the controller defaults to the Xbox layout in all three connections. Now, in order to connect this controller to the Nintendo Switch, just double click the mode button until the LED light is in this position. Then, like any other Nintendo Switch Pro controller, just go down to controllers with an already paired Joy-Con or controller and press A. Then press A again to change grip/order. Then from here, just hold down the sync button until the LED light is scrolling. And just like that, we are paired. And when it is connected to the Switch, it has the Switch layout. But don't forget, you can easily change the ABXY button layout to an Xbox layout. Now let's get into the rest of the key features of this controller. In order to program the back buttons, just hold down the settings button, then press the paddle that you want to program. You will feel a short vibration, which means the mapping process has started. For me, I'm going to program my right paddle to be A, and after you assign the button, the controller will do a long vibration, which means the mapping process has been completed. Then for the left paddle, just repeat the steps. So now my right paddle is A and my left paddle is B. It's really that easy. And like I mentioned earlier, this controller does have autopilot gaming, which just means you can program this button to perform up to 10 seconds of recorded actions. So in order to program this button, you just have to hold down the autopilot gaming button for 3 seconds. Once you feel a short vibration, the recording process has started. So in this case, I'm just going to program it to me moving forward and jumping in Fortnite. And to stop recording, just press the autopilot gaming button, but just know the recording process will automatically stop after 10 seconds. So now when I press this button, as you can see, my character is now just moving forward while jumping. And if you want to loop this action, just double click the autopilot gaming button. And as you can see, my character is just going to constantly move forward while double jumping, then stop, as that's when I stopped recording. So when you are programming this button, try to be very precise with your actions. And to stop this, just press any button and it will stop. And to be honest, I only find this feature being useful in fighting games. Now, this controller does have a turbo mode, which is something I don't necessarily like, but it will give you a competitive edge over your opponents, especially in shooters. But if you don't know what turbo mode is, it's basically a rapid fire. So instead of you spam clicking a specific button, you can just hold it down. So I'm just going to program the turbo mode to the right trigger. And to do this, just hold down the settings button and press the right trigger. You will feel the controller vibrate once. And now what was once a semi-auto rifle is now fully automatic. And if you want to take it a step further, just repeat the steps and you will feel the controller vibrate twice. And now when you press the right trigger, it's just going to do everything by itself. And to stop this, just repeat the steps once more and you will feel a long vibration. And now it's back to normal. Also, the turbo mode will only work with the right trigger, the right bumper, and any of the A, B, X, Y buttons. And if you programmed one of those buttons to be your back paddle, turbo mode will not work with the back paddles. This controller also has a 6-axis gyroscope motion controls, and as you can see, it works perfectly fine. This is ideal for racing games, and if this ever feels off to you, you can manually calibrate it by performing these actions. Then for the thumbsticks, which I just realized have metal rings around the neck, which is such a huge plus, because as you can see, the left thumbstick of my daily Xbox controller is starting to get a groove forming on the neck, and if it had a metal ring around it, this wouldn't be happening. So these thumbsticks are built to last. But back on topic, you can enable a dead zone for the joysticks, which I personally don't see a reason why you would want that, as it will make your thumbstick movements to have a slight delay. But if you want that, just hold down the settings button and press the screenshot button. The controller will vibrate once, which means the dead zone is enabled. And to turn it off, just repeat the steps. And the controller will do a long vibration while doing so. You can also adjust the joystick sensitivity by holding down the settings button and then press down on the thumbstick that you want to adjust. And as you can see, the ring light is now green. And to showcase this even better, I'm going to adjust the sensitivity on my right joystick. So now it's green, and as you can see, the sensitivity is now set to 150%. And if you repeat those steps, the thumbstick ring is now a reddish pink, which means the sensitivity is now at 50%. And this is very slow. Then if you want to go back to 100%, which is the default setting, just repeat the steps and the thumbstick ring will turn back to blue, which just means it's back to normal. Also, you can recalibrate the joysticks and triggers if anything feels off by performing these actions. Also, the D-pad has 2 modes to choose from, one being a 4-direction D-pad and the other being an 8-direction D-pad, which allows diagonal use. of the D-pad and is the default setting. In order to change the D-pad mode, just hold down the settings button and press right on the D-pad. One vibration means the D-pad is in the 4-direction mode, and a long vibration means the D-pad will be in the 8-direction mode. You can also adjust the controller's vibration strength and choose between 3 different vibration modes. For adjusting the vibration strength, just hold down the settings button and press up on the D-pad. 1 vibration means the vibration will be weak. 2 vibrations means the vibration will be strong and is the default setting. And a long vibration means the vibration is off. Then for choosing between the 3 vibration modes, just hold down the settings button and press down on the D-pad. 1 vibration means it's set to the rotary motor mode. 2 vibrations means it is set to the Gulikit maglev motor mode. And 3 vibrations means it is set to the HD motor mode. And you can also change the lighting effect of the ring lights by just holding down the settings button and press left on the D-pad. By default, they'll always be on, but you can change the ring light to be a joystick activated flowing light, as you can see here. And you can change the ring light to be a vibration activated light or to a trigger activated flowing light. And you can also turn it off. And if you want to clear all the special settings on the controller and have it back to the factory settings, just hold down the settings button and press the minus button. And then for the last key feature, this controller does have a special CPU, which is the main reason why this controller feels so responsive. And now for the moment we have all been waiting for. The Gulikit KK3 Pro controller does have a retail price of $69.99 USD. However, it is currently listed at $59.99 USD on Amazon, which is actually not too bad of a price when you consider everything that you get with this controller. Of course, it will be linked in the video description. Disclaimer, it is an affiliate link, so if you buy this controller, you are helping out my channel, so shout out to you. Now with everything being said and done, I am giving this controller a solid 9 out of 10. The only reason why it is not a perfect 10 out of 10 is because of the back paddles. I wish they were easier to install and remove. Besides that, this controller has to be one of the best multi-platform controllers on the market. It definitely gives you a competitive edge over your in-game opponents. Plus, you don't have to worry about stick drift or any other type of durability issues, as this controller was built to last. The only thing that is really missing from this controller is NFC compatibility, but you can get that feature with the KK3 Max controller, which is the upgraded version of the KK3 Pro. But hopefully this video was helpful. Make sure to drop a like, consider subscribing if you're new, and if you do, make sure to turn on those post notifications. And besides that, have a good one. And once again, massive shout out to Gulikit for sending me out the KK3 Pro controller to review.